Hello, friends. Welcome to A Little View, the podcast where the perspective may be small, but the conversations are anything but small. I'm Gwen, your podcast host, soon to be dietitian, college grad student, a health coach, and an advocate for all things. This is the podcast where we talk about things that not only aren't talked about, but a voice for the unrepresentative, and we have empowering conversations about healing your mind, body, and soul through a unique perspective, while bringing on guests to share their inspiring stories as well. And today we have the lead researcher for bringing Voxogo into the world. He didn't invent the drug, but he was the lead researcher in it. He worked directly with families to see how it worked. He ran clinical trials and then he published it while BioMarin made and designed the drug. He just shared the real world examples in peer reviews. He's also the trusted expert on how the treatment works. So thank you so much, Ravi, for being on my podcast today.
Thank
And
you for having me, Gwen. Looking forward to it.
hello, Gwen here, and I just want to pause and say something for a minute before this episode gets started because this subject is very controversial in LPA. This has nothing to do with my opinion or how I feel about it. This is just giving the facts and educating people on this treatment. And if you could explain a little, even though I did, explain a little more of who you are.
I'm a medical doctor, pediatrician, and a geneticist, and I've been working with people with various forms of bone condition for the last 30 years. And really, the main motivation for me moving towards can we try and come up with the better treatments, because I saw my patients experiencing significant medical and other issues over their lifetime that meant they had many operations, often that didn't work. And so about 15 years ago, I said, this is not good enough. We need something a little bit better. And I started looking around and partnering with various companies like BioMarin who were looking at various medications. And one of those medications, the 111th one that they tried, showed some really good promise in the mouse model. And so I invited them to come to Australia. And obviously, the most important thing is they didn't invent the molecule. The molecule already existed, but they're the ones that kind of brought it into the mouse trials. And I was the one that then said, okay, let's see how it goes in children. And that was the first trial ever in 2012. And we've gone from there to this medication now being approved in over 50 countries. I'm also leading all the other therapies for achondroplasia as well. But in addition, I go to kindergartens and speak to teachers and speak to governments about how we need to modify furniture, stop discrimination. I run a clinic for children with achondroplasia. This treatment is just one part of the management of people with achondroplasia. And I've also written a lot of guidelines around that to help doctors who may not be as familiar with this condition and other conditions like it. So it's been a great journey. And as you know, Gwyn, I have a big team of dietitians, occupational therapists, physiotherapists, genetic counselors. I'm looking at ways in which we can optimize the health of people with skeletal dysplasia and people with achondroplasia.
What made you get into working with like skeletal dysplasia, achondroplasia people?
Yeah, we had a huge population of patients, but no one was really looking after them. And so I had the opportunity to learn about it. I knew nothing about it. And it's been extremely rewarding, and being involved with all the support groups around the world, not just here in Australia, but in America, in Europe, and getting to meet the people. And really, people with skeletal dysplasia are just people with a condition that might make them unwell for various reasons. And I want to decrease that chance so they can live their lives and do whatever they want to do. So it's been a great journey and one that continues.
When you say unwell, what do you mean? Like because of the being short stature or in general?
No, also, if we take achondroplasia, for instance, affects every bone in the body. And if a new parent has a child with achondroplasia, the chance of that child dying in the first 5 years due to problems with breathing and due to constriction of the spinal cord is 50 times that of a child without achondroplasia. And the chance of them needing surgery in early life or needing something to help them breathe at night. And as adults, 70% of adults will have chronic back pain and spinal stenosis that often will need surgery that doesn't really help them too much.
I am so glad that when I asked that question that Dr. Ravi explained it a little more, because that just goes to show that sometimes we can take things a little different than what is said. We need to ask more questions about it. For instance, when Dr. Ravi said they can be unwell, I thought he meant all little people are unwell, but he was saying because of our medical issues, we can be unwell, is what he was saying.
So basically, there were the issues that I was seeing. Sure, there are some people with these conditions that don't have many medical problems, but unfortunately, the vast majority do have problems. And it's all related to the fact that the spine and the long bones develop in a different way, which causes compression on the spinal cord. Certainly, the one is breathing problems, sudden death problems, and in adults, the huge problem of stenosis and crushing of the lower spine. So it really was, and these are people who are fit and healthy, who then not able to walk, not able to play sport, not able to work because they're in pain every day. So it was really trying to see whether we can do something to help them, just like all of medicine.
A lot of people are against Voxogo because they think that I don't want to say you, but people who
Yeah.
are administering it are against someone's height, or it's like the miracle drug for someone's height. And it's also you are against someone being a little person. And when those misconceptions happen, how do you feel?
Well, I think it's just unfortunately now that in 2025, that's just wrong because basically we just want to see whether we can offer patients something that will decrease their chance of medical issues severe. And thing is that here in Australia, we don't hold anyone down and give them Vosoritide. It's all optional because families will say, "Thanks, Dr. Ravi, I'm fine." But all families get the information because we're so lucky in Australia because I worked very hard to make sure this medication is free for all Australian children from birth. And so every child, even before they're born, parents will come and ask me about it. And then they make a decision for their child, whether it's yes or no. And the other thing is that I'm actually doing this podcast from Sydney and I'm about to give a talk tomorrow about the effects of Vosoritide beyond height because we've shown not only does it increase height, it increases the width of the spinal canal, it increases the width of the base of the brain, it is straightening the bowing of the legs, which is allowing children to walk and run better and not need operations. It's also increasing their spinal alignment so they don't increase spinal operations. It's improving their quality of life. We had the first girl last week who was 16 and she's been on the medication. She got a new car and she didn't have to get a modification of her car. She was so happy. She was crying with happiness because she just felt that she was like her friends. And we have young children. A 12-year-old girl told me for the first time she can reach her backside so she can go to the bathroom without her teacher or her friend to help her. That's life changing. And I also have children who tell me that they're tall enough to go on the rides at the theme park. They're not the only ones sitting there while all their friends go on rides. These are hugely important things.
I love stories like this of people gaining more confidence or having less medical issues because of the treatment they got, because truly no one really understands your situation unless you're in it. And I have known little people who are on Voxogo that they have helped them immensely. It has completely 360'd their life, or maybe 180, one of them. It has made a complete turnaround of what their life was medically. And I think that is truly amazing to have something that makes them be able to function in the world so much better.
And it's a very private decision for families whether they want to take this medication or not. And it's an option to take it or not take it. And so it really shouldn't have, people who sometimes email me and I hear on social media, they don't even know anyone with achondroplasia. They just want to have an opinion. And it's optional. It's not mandatory. It's not like you have to, it's not like I won't look after you unless you're on this medication. It's these are would you like to try this medication because we're now showing over the last 10 years that it does help you and decrease your chance of medical complications.
I think that's so important because even in the LPA community, there's people that agree with it and don't agree with it. But a lot of the people that don't agree with it, they won't talk to the people that agree with it. And it's like they're not trying to push it on you. Personally, for me, if you're on it, I don't care. I maybe wouldn't get it, but that doesn't mean I don't support other people that are on it. I wouldn't not talk to someone or not be friends with someone if they chose to be on it or chose their child to be on it because that's a personal decision and that's what they think is best for them. That's no big deal. I think too many times nowadays, people think that what someone else is choosing is a personal attack against them when it has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with what is best for them and their children. That is it. We can have two different opinions on some things. We're not the same person and we can still be friends. So I think that's so, so important is personal decision and you can still be friends with someone who is on it.
And now we have 10 years of experience and all the data that's coming out. And this is data that's not, now the information is not coming out from BioMarin, the drug company. The information is coming out from researchers in Japan, all around the world, who have been using the medication and seen its benefits. So I think it would be wrong of me not to talk to families about it and at least give them the option. Now, some families will say thank you, but no thank you. And that's fine.
And have you had, because when do people usually start the drug?
Well, in Australia, many people will start, the children will start the drug in the first few months of life because we think that's when it can have the life saving effects of increasing the diameter of the where the brain becomes the spinal cord. That's what we believe causes the increased risk of sudden death.
And when
And
do people stop taking it?
or when they can take it, they can stop taking it any time. Some families, it's really hard to generalize because every family is different, so some families want to take it for a few years to get the effects on the spine, and then they don't want it after that. Other families want to take it the whole time. So, and some families say no thank you, we don't want it at this time as well. So really, it depends family by family. We sit down and I look after. I'm their managing doctor. I know the families really well. I look after them. I go and play basketball with them and hang out with them. And so each family is different.
Yeah,
So it's hard to generalize because that's the whole thing. It's right. It's sitting down and saying, hey, we have this option that we never had before. Here are all the facts. What do you think? But we don't, it's not, a lot of the stuff on the internet is just wrong. A lot of people just have facts that are just wrong. And that's important to know. Every year, we're getting more and more information about the potential benefits of this medication. So it's really about talking to them about that. And talking to them about the fact that even though they're on the medication, they still need to come and see me every 6 months. We still need to do all the things they need to do. We still need to go and make sure their classroom is appropriate, that they have the right chair, all the kind of things that we need to do. We need to educate people about bullying and social media and all that's going on now. Because it's a tough world out there. None of that changes. This is just, if I can give you something that makes it 20 times less that you're not going to need an operation, that's good.
yeah. And would you say that most of the families are average height parents with little people kids or little people families?
Okay, it's a really good question. So, in the average, so as you know, of every 10 children born with achondroplasia, 8 will have no family history.
Yeah,
Of those 8, almost all of the parents, for whatever reason, wish some type of treatment. It's very high uptake. In the other 20% where there's a family history, it's really variable. And I have really long conversations, and it's really tough for some parents. But one of the ladies whose daughter is on the medication, she had 5 spinal operations and she can't walk now. So they were useless operations. And she used to be a basketballer. She used to do Pilates. She was a physical trainer, and now she's off her feet and she's in her 40s, and she doesn't want that for her daughter to tell her that she's doing the wrong thing. I mean, I think it's crazy. I mean, no one should be having an opinion on other people's personal medical decision choices.
for sure. Yeah, I
And
agree.
this has been played out in the media. We're on the second page of the New York Times. I get emails from people saying, Dr. Ravi, why are you committing genocide on people with short stature? I mean, it's just so misinformed. But that's the world we live in. We have people who live in their parents' or their grandparents' garage, and all they do is sit on their computers and send out hate.
Yeah, yeah,
But that's not this discussion. This is a discussion about people who really want the best for their children, and they would like to know what's the latest and what can we do to help their children. So when you say it like that, it's almost impossible to argue against it.
yeah.
Because if I'm going to give a medication to a child, that means the chance of them dying in the first 5 years goes from 50 times risk to 10 times risk. It's pretty hard to say families shouldn't take that up.
Exactly. And like you said, this podcast isn't to push away anyone. It's more just to break the misconceptions about what you think about the medication of I'm not trying to change anyone. I'm just giving you the facts of why it is what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just like when if someone comes to us with a severe infection, we give them an antibiotic, not to change them, but to help them get better. This medication it's not a genetic medication. It's not a gene therapy or anything. And so all the children and adults, all the children who are on this medication are still cheeky and still the same personality and still doing all the things they want to do. It just means they don't have to come to hospital because they're not in pain and they can do stuff.
And
That's
would you
great.
say the children that are on it, it's probably hasn't gone this far yet, but the children that are on it, if they have kids, will they still have little people kids?
Yes, absolutely. It doesn't change anything genetically.
I just want to highlight that important fact that it does not change you as a little person. No matter if you have kids, there is still a big chance that you could have a little person child because you still have that gene in your body. And I think too many times people think that people that are on this are trying to erase dwarfism when that is absolutely not true because again, it has nothing to do with genes. It cannot erase them being a little person.
There's still that hasn't changed at all. This is a medication that goes in and just blocks the signal in the cartilage to allow the bones to grow as they would have if you didn't have this change blocking it. So it doesn't change anything else, including children. It's not a gene therapy.
Yeah.
The most important thing is that this is a choice that families make
Mhm.
for their children. It's not compulsory, and if you decide not to take any medication, I still see you as much as I would otherwise, and we still do all the care that's needed. We just hope that this medication means these children will need to see me less because they're really healthy.
Yeah.
I'd like that. I'd like them not to come into hospital for operations and have pain and need surgeries and not be able to sleep at night and need oxygen and all that's awesome if that doesn't happen. So, but it's a choice, but it's important that as more information comes out, including if there's any long-term harms that we haven't worked out, because that's why we're following all our children and for a very long time, then we'll need to tell families that. But at the moment, more and more evidence is coming out that this medication is decreasing the incidence of all these complications. It's not taking them away. It's not a magic bullet or anything like that. It's just helping children. Hopefully, what we're going to see is these children be healthier adults as well. So
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Sometimes get really confused why there's so much passion around it and everyone's making up all this controversy because it's really not that controversial.
Well, thank you so much for being on my podcast and just telling us a little bit more about it. Because even though this was a short episode, I just wanted to break some misconceptions down that are so many people often think of, or even in the little people community, or people aren't talking to people because of it. So this is just
Yeah.
perfect, just to inform people a little more. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. Lovely to see you, and I'll speak to you again.